Hello, this is Laren with the Fantasy Grounds Academy. Wanted to go over some of the new changes that I've just rolled out with the Fantasy Grounds Unity platform. This was put in like the last couple days. If you haven't already updated, there is a new feature that is going to improve the quality of life for the DMs in regards to the party sheet. So before, there was a lot of people that had asked about the formation of the characters. So if you build a formation in the party sheet, you would assume, or you would hope, that the NPCs or the characters would go into the combat tracker, or in that combat tracker order, you would have a formation on the map that would actually match up. So now they've done that. They've actually taken that and considered it and put it into the order in the party sheet. So to get to the party sheet, it's over here on the right in the tools area. It looks like if in this theme you have a couple different options here, but in this case you want to click on this little icon here in the party sheet, which is on the far right under tools, and that brings up the party sheet option that I have here on the screen. So if I click on it again, it'll bring this up, and you're going to go down to the order tab, and here I have a plethora of different characters on here, and they're also on the combat tracker, just so you know. Anyhow, from here you can set up your formation. So there's a middle square in this, which is indicated by this little bullseye. So that will be the center of where the formation works out of. So when you place this, you have to consider that centerpiece. So that's where it will be centered. Down on the bottom left, there is a helmet, which is what you would use in the combat tracker anyways, to drag and drop the entire group onto a map. But this retains the formation. So I've made a kind of set up a formation here with all these different characters. This party's a little bit big, but nonetheless, this will just kind of give you an easier way to set up formation. So if you're pointing north, or where this arrow is, that's assuming up on the map as well. But if your map is oriented horizontally, you can actually rotate to the right, or you can rotate to go south or to the left, or however you want to rotate it. That way it's not always just facing north. You can switch it up. You can also clear the formation down at the bottom, and then you have some presets where you have autofill, column 1, column 2, and column 3. So there's different tools here to help you formulate how you want to form your group. Over here on the left is the watch order. This really doesn't have a whole lot of function here other than just to kind of establish a watch order. So I have a group here where we have several individuals that are in groups of like 2. So Figgin and Lord Gallimar take first watch. Dorig and Squire Valius take second watch. Laren and Zayla take third watch. Centaurius and Shayra take fourth watch. And Namita and Zamas take the last watch. So this is just a way to kind of, do that part of it when you're resting, or when you're kind of at ease, you're not in combat. It also might help you create a table or some kind of way to tie in the watch order with an encounter in the future. But it's more or less a utility, just kind of keep track of things. The real takeaway here is the formation. So once you have your formation made up, you just drag from the watch order to this formation area, and it will place the tokens wherever you drag them. You can move them, you can shuffle them around. I noticed that Valius and his knight friend Gallimar, they look really alike because they're armor, but they're actually two different characters. So I'm going to take and drag this little helmet over here to the party sheet, and I'm going to center on this very square here, which should be the center of the formation. And it is. So when you have this centered, there is Figgin O'Fetch in the center, which is considered the center, and then you have your big front with all your heavy hitters, and then the back with your archery and rogues and spellcasters. So this is just a way you can do that. Now you can rotate this formation. Now it doesn't rotate it on the map. It only rotates it in the formation window. So if you wanted to redo this, let's say instead of going north, you wanted to go east or to the right. So I'll right click on the map, click delete token, and delete all tokens. So that just clears the map. And then I can just re-drag it, and that will add the extras on here. So now here's the new formation facing right. So this is a nice feature. This is something that had been asked several times when I'd run different events and different classes. People always wondered why that wasn't a thing. Well, it is now. So there's that. And then one other minor tweak or change that's kind of handy is I have this inventory tab. If you're going to add an award here for items that are not identified, there's a couple options you have now. So here in the ruined tower, there's a treasure for a necromancer wizard. So if the party defeats him, they get this treasure chest or this bag of loot. It has some quartz and an elixir of health and an elixir of or a potion of fire resistance and some coins. Well, these two potions are not identified yet. You can essentially click on identify all items, and that way when you award it, it's already automatically identified for the party sheet. Or if you don't want to do that, you can drag this party sheet over with the items still not identified, and then the players would go into town and hire somebody to identify them, and you can decide if that's going to cost them a little. You can change this percentage here, and then once they've paid or they've sought out help to get those identified, you can click the identify button here, and then you would drop it down to add it to the party's inventory. So now that I hit this down arrow, it splits up the loot and it splits up the well, at least this information is handy. So now when you want to go sell this stuff, you can send it over. So I might take the stones over to like someone that's more into semi-precious stones. So I'm going to hold those. So I'm going to put hold on actually the potions because I don't want to sell those yet. So I'll go put hold on those. That's what I'm going to type so that it doesn't sell it or try to move it. And that also might be claimed by characters, so you put their names in there. And then go ahead and hit the sell items, and that will convert all of the stone or gems into basically into coin. And now you have these two potions. So at this point, you can have them decide if they want to keep them, or if you want to sell them, you can do that. So we just remove hold. But let's say that Gallimar wants the elixir of health. So I'll just type in Sir Gallimar, or maybe it's Figgin wants this. Okay, Figgin O'Fetch is the rogue. He wants the elixir of health. So now when I go ahead and bring this over, it's going to sell this potion of fire resistance at 50%. So let's say we negotiated and we got it up to 65% of value. So if you open this up, it has a cost range which you're going to have to adjust, because if it's a cost range, it will not sell it. It has to have a final cost. So we'll just say the potion's worth 375 gold. So I just changed that temporarily. It doesn't change the main items in the campaign, just this particular one. And now that it has a cost, it will give us 65% of value. So I'll go ahead and sell the items. So the potion is now sold. Then we hit the down arrow, which will distribute the wealth and give the potion to the person who held it or who wanted it. So that's basically how the new feature is. So you just have two places to identify all the magic items before you divvy them out to the party sheet. Or you can leave them unidentified and then carry those around until they're identified and put a hold on them. And then once the party gets them identified, you can assign a value to it and then go from there. So hopefully this helps. I didn't want to make this video too long, but you have the new formation tool and you have two different new ways to identify items without having to go into each individual item and doing that manually. So take care, everyone. Happy gaming. Friday's coming up, so hopefully you guys can play in some games. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.